On today's Toy Spot, we're going to be looking at the Batman exclusive Batman vs. Bane 2-pack. And while I've done what seems to be all the Batman toy reviews, many people asked how come I hadn't done Bane. And the only reason why I hadn't done Bane was solely because I had the Batman vs. Bane 2-pack. The Bane is actually the exact same Bane as the single card Bane as well. And like I said, while I did have the single carded Bane, I figured I might as well hold off doing Bane until I did the 2-pack because it does come with the exclusive Batman figure. But we'll get into that when we get the package to open up. The package is very common if you've collected the Batman toys. The use of the black, the red at the top, the Batman logo, very consistent, doesn't change very often. On the bottom here you see a picture of Batman on the side. On the back of the packaging there are 3 sets that were released. There was the Batman vs. Bane, there was the Batman vs. Joker, and the Batman vs. Penguin. I remember seeing these 2 sets, and as far as I could tell, the Joker there was nothing different. From what I remember, there was nothing different about that particular Joker. I think there was something. Yeah, the Batman was exclusive. I can't remember what it was though. I think it was just a silly repaint. The Batman vs. Penguin, however, the Penguin was the exclusive. And from my memory, I think I remember the Penguin. I believe instead of the gray, it was red. It was like a red and black. And that may or may not be right. Again, I don't really remember the sets. I do remember that I saw both of them, and really the only one that interested me was the Bane versus Batman. So what we'll do is we'll get the package here. We'll get the package opened up, and we'll get a better look at both the Batman and the Bane. It's a 2-pack review. 2-pack review. Stay tuned, guys. There is much more to come. Alright, now that we've got them out of the package, let's look at the 2 figures. We'll look at the Bane first, just because the Bane wasn't part of the original reviews I had done of the Batman figures. The Bane, while it was not necessarily everybody's cup of tea, the Bane certainly was an interesting interpretation for the cartoon. Normally, Bane, of course, was like flesh-colored, and then he had the black mask with the white and the red eyes. What they've done then instead is they made more Bane almost like a hulking behemoth, whereas what they did was they had a very skinny Bane originally, and he was fully masked. You couldn't see his face or anything like that. And then when he injected himself with the venom, the fabric would separate, and then underneath you'd see the red skin of Bane. And like I said, it wasn't everybody's cup of tea, but I thought it was interesting. It certainly was interesting, and a design that I thought worked rather well for the character. The only downside, though, however, is I don't think, while the toy does look like Bane, I don't think the toy translated very well, because once again relies heavily on a gimmick. In the way of his articulation, he has articulation in the head, which is not hindered at all by the cords that are attaching or the tubes that are connecting to his head. He has the articulation in the torso, but again it relies solely on the gimmick more than anything else. The only other articulation he has is in his legs. Where the gimmick comes into play is that you can actually raise his arms, and his torso extends out, and you can have him doing this. I would have liked more so if this was just articulated arms and then maybe articulated elbows, and you could kind of do with him as you wish, kind of like the Spectacular Spider-Man Rhino. But no, instead of getting that, we get this. Meh. If anything, Please, it would have been nice if they had just given us a lock so that you could have locked his arms into place. So, you know, if you wanted to have him displayed as such, you could do it. But no, they didn't do that either. Bit of a disappointment. The figure's alright. The figure is alright. But just, again, because of the gimmick, it could have been so much nicer. And as you can see, you can kind of lock the one arm if you want, but as soon as it seems like as soon as you get both arms in the mix, you then can't independently, you can't lock them. So if anything, you could always have your Bane kind of standing like that if you want, but the only downside, very back heavy, because as you can see, he's got a very large upper torso. So that is Bane. That is Bane. We'll put him down because guaranteed he's going to fall anyways, and we'll look at Batman. Batman was the only reason why I bought this set, and had the cost of the box set not gone down, I probably would have passed on it altogether, because Batman here is just an exact repaint of the older, I want to say Zipline Batman, but I did a review of him. Oh, look at that, eh? I left one of my Banes. Speaking of Bane, one of my Banes, the dreaded clear elastics. I left it on one of the zip ties. Now, unfortunately, this relies on the, I want to say Transformer Cyber keys. They're very similar. The idea is you can peg it into place, and you can, I think in this case, turn it, and it fires the zip line. The zip line on its own isn't so bad, but why it relies on this silly little piece of plastic is beyond me. The zip line doesn't really clamp onto Batman's arm, which would have been nice, but instead he actually has to hold it. He actually has to hold it, which he really isn't doing a very good job of right now, because I'm not doing a good job in this review. There we go. And he can have him holding it. But again, the only reason why I bought this set was for this Batman. And while I don't usually like repaints whatsoever, I do like show-accurate repaints. And, you know, I'm always a sucker when it comes to bandaged superheroes. Especially in the episode of Brawn where Batman fights Bane. He gets pretty banged up. So while this is really a exact repaint or retool of the earlier released Batman figure, I do like the fact that they've put bandages and stuff on his arm, on his stomach area. They put a couple of gashes. It's enough for me to want to buy the figure. Had these heads been easier to remove, what I would have liked to have done was put a unmasked Bruce Wayne head actually on this Batman. And I probably would have him on display like that. Overall, it's not a bad set. If you already have the Bane, you probably don't have enough reason to want to pick up this set. I don't know if buying the bandaged Batman is enough for you to want to pick up the set. It was enough for me, but I mean, price really, if the price was low enough, you know, it was enough of a factor for me to buy the set for myself. I like the Bane. I wish the Bane could have been so much nicer, though. I really wish they didn't have to rely so much on a gimmick. Had he just had articulated arms, I would have liked him much more. And also, looking back on it, my Walmart had Batman figures, I want to say like 4 months ago, 3 months ago, and they were clearing them all out for about $2. $2. And of the ones they had, they only had about three different figures. But they had the Flash, they had the Batman, and I believe they had the Martian Manhunter. Realizing the potential, I really should have gone back and picked up a handful of Flashes, because then I would have liked to have created a Bane, the unvenomed Bane, completely in the black and everything else. I could have also maybe made an Everywhere Man, but you see that sometimes you just don't think, you just don't think about it at the time, and so that for that reason, all we have is the hulked up Bane. But needless to say, that was a toy spot on the Batman exclusive bandaged Batman, and this was the review as well of Bane. Hope you guys enjoyed it, And stay tuned for many more spots to come. Please comment, rate, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Later.